How many people in this room believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny? I'm curious. That the way you think has something to do with your future. So you think 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day. Out of those 60 to 70,000 thoughts that you think in one day, 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before. So if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as yesterday, your life is going to stay the same, because the same thoughts always lead to the same choices. The same choices always lead to the same behaviors. The same behaviors create the same experiences, and the same experiences produce the exact same emotions. And those same emotions influence your very same thoughts, and your biology, your neurocircuitry, your neurochemistry, your hormones, and even your genetic expression is equal to how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So it makes sense then, when you begin to learn new information, if you can take that information and do something with it when you leave this event and make a new choice will lead to a new behavior. A new behavior creates a new experience produces a new emotion then inspires new thoughts, and we would call that evolution. So then your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. That is it. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality that's sitting here today called you has created the present personal reality that you have, your life. Yes or no? So then if you think the same way, you act the same way, and you feel the same way, then your life stays the same. But if you can teach people how to change the way they think, change the way they act, and change the way they feel, they will begin to create a new life. How many people understand? So then most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. That you literally have to become someone else. Now think about this. I said to change is to be greater than your body. The body as the mind that's been conditioned over time, emotionally and habitually. To change, then, is also to be greater than your environment, to be greater than the circumstances in your life. And every great person in history understood this, that they were defined by a vision of the future, so much so that they began to live as if that future reality was already manifesting. They weren't waiting for it to happen, they were creating it. And to change, then, is to be greater than time, to not be in the program of the familiar future or the predictable future or the familiar past, to teach people how to be present. And so in the hotel industry, when I check into a hotel, I can tell you in 2 seconds if the staff is trained. I can tell you because I'll know if they're authentically connecting with me, if they're present with me, if they have the ability to connect, to collaborate, to begin to emotionally interact, that they have some quality, some essence that's authentic. And that authenticity, turns out, is just training. It's just teaching people some really simple skills. So then when it becomes time to change, the hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. And the moment you decide to make a different choice, get ready. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel unfamiliar. There's going to be some uncertainty. You're not going to be able to predict the next moment. Now, most people say, well, look, I've suffered for the last 20 years. Today, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to blame. I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. No more self-pity. I'm just going to stop. Now, they've been thinking and feeling this way for 30 years, and all of a sudden, they're going to stop. First 2 hours goes really well. Then they break a fingernail, or they run out of toilet paper, and their day is ruined. And all of a sudden, then, the body is saying, hey, you have been feeding the same chemistry to this body by feeling the same emotion, and now there's a disruption. Now remember, the body's the mind. So the moment the person makes a different choice, the body starts saying, well, let me influence the mind. And all of a sudden, a person starts hearing these voices in their head. You know, start tomorrow. This doesn't feel right. It's your mother's fault. It's your ex's fault. I'll never change. It's too hard. And if people respond to that thought as if it's true, That same thought leads to the same choice. The same choice leads to the same behavior. The same behavior creates the same experience. The same experience produces the same familiar emotion. It reaffirms their identity, and they say, this feels right. Feels familiar. That going from the old self to the new self is the neurological, it is the biological, it is the chemical, it is the hormonal genetic death of the old self. And in that void, in that unknown, that is the perfect place to create from. That means then, people say to me, I am in change and I can't predict my future. And I always say the same thing to them. The best way to predict your future is to create it. Not from the known, but from the unknown. What thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors do you want to demonstrate in one day? And the act of closing your eyes, this is neuroscience now. You can teach people how to do this and have them mentally rehearse what they're going to do. We do this in corporations. All of a sudden, the person gets so present what they're about to do, and they start rehearsing it in their mind, that their brain doesn't know the difference between what's going on out there and what's going on in here. And all of a sudden, they start to install the neurological hardware in their brain in preparation for that day. The brain looks like they've already done it. And if you keep doing it over and over again, the hardware becomes a software program. And what do you know? All of a sudden, this person starts acting like a happy person. Well, they installed the circuits to do that. They start thinking in new ways. There's no magic there. And then, can you teach a person how to emotionally condition their body into the future? Which means then, they're not going to wait for their life to change to feel gratitude or to feel wholeness, to feel love. That is an antiquated model of reality. People spend their whole life waiting for something outside of them to change how they feel inside of them. And they spend their whole life living in lack and separation. But when they begin to emotionally teach their body what that future feels like, their body as their unconscious mind begins to believe that they're living in that future reality in the present moment. And the side effect of that now is they start feeling like it's already happened. And now they're no longer looking for change in their life. They are the change in their life. How many people understand?